Bismillah, read a new hadith, inshallah. Come closer. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. An Jabirin, narrating the authority of Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that La tamassu nara musliman, the fire will not touch a person ra'ani, who saw me. So who's the person who saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? Sahabi, right? Or ra'a man ra'ani, or that person who saw that person who saw me. So who that refer to? A tabi'i, right? Or rawahu Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi narrates this particular riwayat. So now, if you remember correctly, I introduced you, gave you two terms. One is ma'asum and one is mahfuz. Remember, ma'asum means that person who is been divinely protected from doing any wrong. And according to us, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the only people that has been divinely protected from doing wrong, even if they want to do wrong, they can't do it, are the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wa taslim. Right? We don't believe anybody besides them are ma'asum. Just mute this one here. Are you muted? Okay, I got today. Right. We believe only the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wa taslim have been divinely protected. Then I told you about a term called mahfuz. Mahfuz means that people who they can commit sins. They can commit sins, right? Not as a rule, but as an exception. Sometimes they do make sins, not as a rule, but an exception. But they have been promised divine indemnity. And this is the Sahaba Ikram of Rasulullah. Like Nabi Sallallahu said, or rather the Quran said, Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah Ta'ala is pleased with them. And then here you got another hadith say, La tamassun naru musliman ra'ani or ra'a man ra'ani. That the fire will not touch that person who saw me. So even though they will make a mistake, but because of their yeoman stellar service to Islam, because of the great contribution they made to Islam in the beginning stages, they have been promised indemnity from the fire. So you understood that now, the difference between ma'soom and mahfuz. So remember that Sahaba Ikram are mahfuz. Mahfuz means they are protected from the fire of Jahannam, and it is a hadith like this which we understand this concept of mahfuz. They're not ma'soom. There are many instances where they mistakes. The famous hadith of that Sahabiya, what was her name? Ma'iz Aslami. She made a mistake. She committed zina and she came to Rasulullah sallallahu, and the Nabi turned his face away from her. Then she came again and she came again. And the Nabi said, wait until you give birth. And then she gave birth. And then the Nabi said, okay, now until the child can eat. Then she brought the child, was able to eat. And then eventually, finally, Nabi Sallallahu made out the had, right, on her, right? And then there's just some random examples. There's another one also. Yeah, remember the one lady stole something. So I think it was Fatima Makhzumiyah. So then they asked the adopted son of Rasulullah to intercede on her behalf. So Nabi became annoyed. أَتَشْفَعُ فِي حَدٍّ مِّنْ حُدُودِ اللَّهِ. Are you interceding with regards to the penal code of Allah Ta'ala? Don't you know this is the reason why the previous ummahs were destroyed? That if a simple persona non grata had to commit a crime, then the hudud would be implemented on him. But if a person of prominence or somebody committed zina or done something wrong, then the hudud was not implemented on him. This was one of the reasons from the downfalls. So the point here I'm trying to make is this here is that yes, they did make mistakes, but despite their mistakes, because of their service that they rendered in the initial stage of Islam, they have been guaranteed Jannat, right? So please familiarize yourself with the difference between Ma'soom and Mahfuz. Now, look, man, you just pitched up now. I was just telling them one is Ma'soom, which I told you, divinely protected from sin. And we done this in detail in our Aqidah to Tahawiyah. There is ikhtilaf amongst our ulama that before Nubuwwat was the Anbiya also protected from sin. There's some opinions we discussed that there. One opinion was, I remember correctly, that before Nubuwwat, they were protected from big sins, but maybe not small sins. But after Nubuwwat, there is ittifaq, there's unanimity that they've been protected from sins. Then with Sahaba Ikram, there's a term called Mahfuz. Mahfuz means that not that they won't commit sins or they've been divinely protected from sins. They can commit a sin, but they have been promised indemnity by Allah and His Rasul. And I told you that the text that suggests this is like this: Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an, Allah Ta'ala is pleased with them. And like this one here to be done today: La tamassun nara musliman ra'ani. The fire will not touch that Muslim ra'ani that saw me. So who's the one that saw Rasulullah Sahabi? Or ra'a man ra'ani, or you saw that person who saw me, who's at the tabi'in. So it is these type of texts that our ulama have used to build up the concept of mahfuz. Okay, read the next riwayat, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن عبد الله بن مغفل رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الله أصحابي وأصحابي يحبون بعدي ومن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم ومن آذاهم فقد آذاني ومن آذاني فقد آذاني ومن آذى الله فيوشك أن يأخذه بالسر والحرى.
Subhanallah, very, very strong hadith for those people who hate the Sahaba Ikram. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And Abdullah ibn Mughaffal, narrating the authority of Abdullah ibn Mughaffal, he said, قال Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah, Allah fi ashabi, Allah, fear Allah fi ashabi, with regards to my companions. Allah, Allah fi ashabi, fear them fear Allah Ta'ala. In other words, there's the hidden ibadah, right? Ittaqullaha, right? Fi ashabi, la tattakhiduhum gharadan min ba'di. Do not take them as a target for your animosity, for your hatred after me. فَمَنْ أَحَبَّهُمْ, whoever loves them, فَبِحُبِّي أَحَبَّهُمْ, then it is because of my love that he loved them. In other words, why do we love the Sahaba Ikram? Why do we respect them? For no other reason besides that they were the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are the ones who served the deen when no one was there, right? So that is the only reason why you love them, right? فَمَنْ أَحَبَّهُمْ فَبِحُبِّ أَحَبَّهُمْ, right? وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَبْغَضَهُمْ, and whoever hates them, أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَبْغَضَهُمْ, then it is because of my hatred that he hates me. That's why he's hating them, because they were the purple people who served me, right? Then وَمَنْ آذَاهُمْ فَقَدْ آذَانِي, whoever harms them, then he's harmed me. So same thing, like, if somebody is very fond of another person, then if you are fond of the person who is fond of the other person, out of respect for that person, you respect the other person. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes maybe your father's friends, you respect them for the sake of your father's sake. Or maybe your father took another wife or something. You respect that person. Why? Because of your father's sake. That's why it comes in the hadith also. Inna min abarril birri, Inna min abarril birri an tasilu ila ahli wuddi abikum. Inna min abarril birri an tasila ila ahli wuddi abikum. That one of the most pious acts is that an tasilu ila inna min an tasilu ila ahli wuddi abikum, that you show respect, you show love, and you show honor to those people who your father is fond of, especially if he passed away. So if your father has some friends in his lifetime, he should joke with them, he should laugh with them, then to show honor to them, to show respect to them, etc., is a sign of honor and respect to your own father. That's why it comes in a hadith also. We done this hadith that when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sometimes used to, for us, nowadays to eat meat is not a big occasion. Nowadays you open a fridge and you take out the meat and you eat the meat, right? But in previous times, right, there was no fridges. So when you slaughter animal, it's like a big occasion. You are slaughtering an animal. You're going to eat meat today, right? So whenever something was slaughtered by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was a big occasion. He used to send of that also to the friends of Hazrat Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And that was because of his love for Hazrat Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. I told you, inna min abaril biri an tasilu ila ahli wudi abikum. So when you love somebody, you respect somebody, you honor them, then naturally it means that you must also love, respect, and honor those persons whom that person was fond of. You understood what I'm saying? So if you love Rasulullah, the same thing, the hadith, the same thing, the same theme is being carried out here in the hadith. That if you love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you respect him, etc., then you have to respect the Sahaba Ikram. It's not possible. It's not possible that you say you love the Rasul of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not possible that you say you respect the Rasul of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but then you say, as Aisha Siddiqa na'udhu billah was a bad woman. She poisoned the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She committed zina, like how the Shias, etc. say. So وَمَنْ آذَاهُمْ فَقَدْ آذَانِي. Whoever has harmed them is harmed me, right? وَمَنْ آذَانِي, and if you harm me, فَقَدْ آذَى اللَّهَ, then he's harmed Allah Ta'ala. وَمَنْ آذَى اللَّهَ, whoever has harmed Allah Ta'ala, فَيُوشِكُ أَن يَأْخُذَهُ, then it's close that he will grab him, he will seize him. رواه الترمذي, Imam Tirmidhi narrates this particular right. وقال هذا حديث غريب, and he said this is a hadith gharib. Okay, that I told you we will do next year. This is also reminds me, it is something similar to what I told you, something similar which I discussed with you. When I was Ali radiallahu ta'ala, was the Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha was alive, wanted to take another wife, he wanted to take the daughter of Abu Jahl. Nabi Sallallahu was very annoyed and he stood up on the minbar and said, is it possible that the daughter of the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the daughter of the enemy of Allah, Abu Jahl, they can gather under one roof, like in one marriage? And ulama explained there that the reason why Rasulullah done this was for his own good, was for the own good of Ali, because same thing there. If as Fatima is hurt, then what will happen? Nabi Sallallahu is hurt. If Nabi Sallallahu is hurt, what will happen? Allah Ta'ala will be annoyed. But if Allah Ta'ala is annoyed, that will be an impediment to this progress of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala. So for his own goodness, for his own welfare, Nabi Sallallahu prohibited him. I thought Allah, the hidden ibadah, ittaqullah. In other words, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to my companions. Don't make them gharadan, do not make them a target. That is why I told you, that's why you see, like when we discussed, alhamdulillah, in detail, the Mushtajarat Sahaba. One day, inshallah, maybe we'll also put Aqidatul Tahawiyah online so that the people can benefit from that book of Aqidatul Tahawiyah. When we discuss the differences between the Sahaba Ikram, how careful are we? How careful are we? Even though we say Hazrat Ali was right and Hazrat Muawiyah maybe made a mistake, but what we say it was an ijtihadi mistake. It was not motivated by ego. It was not motivated by self-interest, etc. How careful are we that we do not say anything disrespectful to them? Why? Because of the warnings. It's so sounded out that you cannot be disrespectful. Do not make them a target for your abuse, etc. Right. So, if these people that rendered such a great service to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you're gonna dislike them, that means you dislike Rasulullah because they are the ones who stood with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the very beginning. And if you show them honor, respect, love, then it is because of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu, because they are the ones that stood with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is similar to like how, this is how we say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasulah. Same thing. Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul are linked. Qul in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni yuhibbukumullah, etc., etc. Because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was only an expression of what is required from us. Whatever instruction he gave us, whatever he commanded us, etc., etc., was what? Was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We read the next riwayat, inshallah. Right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وعن أنس narrating authority of Anas قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Try to say sallallahu alayhi wasallam every time you hear the name of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Say sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Even the online people, when they hear the word, the name of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, please say sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, so Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, مثل أصحابي في أمتي كالملح في الطعام. That the likeness of my companions in this ummah is like the likeness كالملح, like salt in the food. Imagine if you take the salt out of the food, how the food tastes. It doesn't taste good at all, right? It's tasteless, right? So like how salt is an important and integral ingredient of your food, like that, the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are an important and integral ingredient of this ummah. So لا يصلح الطعام إلا بالملح. The food is not appropriate. It is not conducive except with the salt. So as Hassan said, after all the Sahaba Ikram had passed away, قال حسن فقد ذهب ملحنا. In other words, all the Sahaba Ikram have passed away. So we've lost an important thing, like our salt. فَكَيْفَ نَصْلُحُ. How can we be correct? How can we correct ourselves? So he was now lamenting the end of the golden era. We discussed this yesterday, and that was in about 120 after Hijri, right? رواه في شرح السنة. He narrates this riwayat in Sharh al-Sunnah. The next one, Yusuf.
وعن عبد الله بن بريدة قال رسول الله
صلى الله عليه وسلم
أصحابي كنتم بأفضل إلى بعد قائدا ونورا لكم قال هذا حديث غريب. ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه لا يبلغني أحد إلا بحفظ اللسان.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Narrating the authority of Abdullah ibn Buraidah, and he in turn narrates from his father. He said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ma min ahadi min ashabi. There is none from anyone from my ashab, yamutu bi ardin, that passes away in a land, illa bu'aitha, except he will be resurrected. Qa'idan. A qa'id is normally somebody who drives people. That's why also sometimes you refer to the driver of a car as a qa'id, as a leader, right? You usher other people. So he, as a qa'idan, he will be resurrected as a qa'id, right? And in this context, it means he will usher the people to Jannah, wa nuran, and he will be a nur for them. كما رواه الترمذي إمام الترمذي narrates وقال هذا حديث غريب. This is a غريب حديث وذكر حديث أو هذا حديث غريب وذكر حديث ابن مسعود, and also There's another hadith Ibn Mas'ud you mentioned, لا يبلغني أحد في باب حفظ اللسان, that none will reach me in the chapter of حفظ اللسان. So when we'll do that, we'll discuss that day. So what this hadith is saying here is this, that look here, when a Sahabi dies in a particular place and he is buried in that place, then he will be a means of barakah for the people. He will drive them. Yeah, he will drive them, or he will take them to Jannah. He will be a means. That is why this is not a hadith. It's not a hadith, but it is something which is extracted from the hadith. Our ulama tell us, al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. What? Al-barakatu ma'a akabirikum. That blessings, benediction, barakah, etc. is with your seniors, with your elders. So I was telling you, it's not the exact words of a hadith, but it is the mafhum, the extraction of the hadith. So we stop this, you see, that if a Sahabi passes away in a certain land, he is a means of blessing. Lukman, Anibni,
الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا رأيت الذين يشدون أصحاب
La'anatullahi. Right. So here Nabi Sallallahu is teaching us, when you see people abusing the Sahaba Ikram, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عن ابن عمر, أنا رأيت أثارة ابن عمر قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم said, just change the page there, إذا رأيتم الذين يسبون أصحابي, when you see those people who are verbally abusing my companions, right? Believe it or not, you find people like this. You get the Shias, etc. They abuse the ashab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say that after Abu Bakr was elected the Khalifa, Umar went to the house of Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha, and they banged on the door and insisted that Ali must come out and he must give ba'at to as Abu Bakr, and they traumatized as Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and she was pregnant at that time, and she even miscarried. All nonsense, all lies, all baseless accusations. Like I told you, they say that as Abu Bakr refused to give the inheritance of Fatima. We discussed this in detail. Fadak, right? And I told you, when you this Quran people only, when you tell him, yeah, the Sahaba Ikram, like I told you, Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are the Jama'ah, we must follow. They say, are you telling us we must follow those people who killed each other? And they're making a reference to the Mushajarat Sahaba, Jamal, Siffin, etc. Are you telling us they are our role models? So Nabi Sallallahu already taught us what to do. When you come across people say, La'natullahi ala sharrikum. May Allah Ta'ala's curse be upon your sharrikum, on your evil, what you are doing, on the evil which you are pronouncing, on the evil which you are saying. May Allah's curse be upon that. Read the next riwayat. Stop there. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وأن عمر بن الخطاب, نريتنا authority of Ibn al-Khattab, يصير قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, that I asked رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, right? قال سمعت, I heard I heard Rasul saying, يقول, he's saying, سألت ربي عن اختلاف أصحابي من بعدي, that I asked my Rabb, right, with regards to the differences of my companions after me, that after I pass away, obviously, Sahaba Ikram will have differences of opinion, right? One will say this, another one will say that. That's natural. Everybody's intelligence is not the same. Two people can be studying the same madrasa. You can study under the same ustads. You can study in the same kitabs. But they'll come out of the same madrasa, and one will give fatwa, this is permissible, and one will give this fatwa, is not permissible. Right? That's natural. Each one's intelligence is different. They come to different. So uh, I knew there would be differences. So سألت ربي عن اختلاف أصحابي من بعدي. I asked my Rabb with regards to the differences that would occur between my companions after me. Carry on.
فأوحى إلي يا محمد إن أصحابك عندي بمنزلتي.
Right. So look at what a beautiful example. Right. Allah Ta'ala gave inspired Rasulullah. فأوحى إلي يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أو محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أصحابك عندي بمنزلة النجوم في السماء, that verily your companions, but according to me, in my eyes, بمنزلة النجوم, are like the stars في السماء, in the sky. Carry on. Right. Right. So from a distance, when we look from the dunya, بعضها أقوى من بعض. Some of them maybe appear to be stronger, brighter than others, right? بعضها أقوى من بعض, right? But وَلِكُلِّ نُورٌ, every one of them have light. So when we look at the sky, some of the stars, they may appear to be brighter than the others. But the bottom line is what? Each one has a light. Each one has a strong light, right? And here, obviously, what you meaning that each one of them are guided, right? وَلِكُلِّ نُورٌ, right?
من أخذ بشيء مما هم عليه من اختلاف
Right. So فَمَنْ أَخَذَ بِشَيْءٍ مِمَّا هُمْ عَلَيْهِ, whoever takes anything مِمَّا هُمْ عَلَيْهِ, from that which they are upon it, what the Sahaba Ikram are upon it, right? عليه من اختلافهم, right, from the differences. That was that you're going to take what the Sahabi say, he's going to take what the Sahabi say, like how, I told you, like how we discussed, we do Hidayah, Shareef, etc. You see here, we are taking the opinion of others of Ibn Mas'ud. Here's Imam Shafi is taking the opinion of Ali, etc. And here's somebody's taking the opinion of what? Of Ibn Umar, etc. So, فَمَنْ أَخَذَ بِشَيْءٍ مِمَّا هُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ اختلاف فَهُوَ عِنْدِي عَلَى هُدًى. Then, despite their differences, then according to me, he's still upon guidance, right? Carry on.
قال وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم النجوم
Right.
لديكم لديكم.
Right. وقال, then he said, right, the Rawi, which is Umar ibn al-Khattab, is saying that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that Ashabi kan nujumi. You might have heard this also in the khutbah, the Jummah khutbahs. I remember when we were in Madrasa in Springle Beach, our Ustad Marhum, Harun Abbas Umar, Rahmatullah, they passed away now. This was his famous khutbah. He always mentioned this is khutbah. Ashabi kan nujumi, that my companions are like the stars. فَبِأَيِّمْ اِقْتَدَيْتُمْ, whichever one of you follow, اِهْتَدَيْتُمْ, you will be guided. رَوَاهُ رَزِينٌ, Imam Razin narrated this particular riwayat. Remember I told you before, I mentioned to you that Sahibi Mishkaat normally try to trace the hadith to its original sources, right? The primary sources, which are Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi Sharif, Abu Dawud Sharif, uh, Nasai Sharif, etc. Those are the primary sources. When you get the secondary sources of hadith books, which are extracted from those, which ulama that came later on, they use the primary sources, right, and they made like comprehensive compilations that they thought would be beneficial. And like if you look at the Riyadh al-Salihin, it is taken from the primary sources. If you look at Mishkaat al-Masabih, it is taken from the primary sources, the original hadith books. If you look at Targhib wa Tarhib, it's taken from the primary sources, right? If you look at uh, what other ones? So these are secondary sources. Mishkat is a secondary source because whatever hadith is here is taken from original, right? Are you following what I'm saying? Now, Imam Razin is mentioned here. He also had a book which was a secondary source. He took it from the primary sources. Are you with me? So he had a book similar to, you can say, Mishkat Sharif. He had a book similar to Riyadh al-Salihin. He had a book similar to Targhib wa Tarhib, which he chose from those books, and he made like you say, according to his understanding, a comprehensive hadith compilation that people can benefit from. Are you with me? Right. So his book, Imam Razin's book, is on the same category as a secondary source, not a primary source. Not a primary source. Are you with me? Right. Now, Sahibi Mishkat, what he done is he tried to now, Sahibi Masabi is the one who done first awal and first thani. And Sahibi Mishkat, I'd explained to you this before, but there's something extra I want to explain to you, so I'm just giving it to you again, and for the benefit of those who are not here. So Sahibi Mishkat came, what he done is, he added the third fasal, first thani, and he referenced all the hadith. Original Sahibi and Masabi never referenced first the awal. He just said, he claimed whatever is in the first the awal is from Sahihain, from Bukhari and Muslim, from Shaykhain. What is in the first thani is from the Sunan, which is primarily like Abu Dawud, Shareef, etc., etc. So Sahibi Mishkat came and he referenced what was there, and he referenced what's in the second fasal, and he added the third fasal. So the interesting thing is sometimes he referenced hadith is Rawaw Razin. So now this is out of place. Why is out of place? If you understand why what I'm saying, if you understood what Imam Razin was, you understand why it's out of place, because Imam Razin's book wasn't a primary source. How are you referencing it to a secondary source? You're supposed to say this is in Bukhari, this is in Muslim, this is in Tirmidhi Sharif, this is in Nasai Sharif. So you're referencing. Right, that's why you as an alim, you mustn't say this comes in Mishkat Sharif if you're giving a bayan. Or you mustn't say this comes in Riyadh al-Salihin. Why? Because you know the original source. It's as good as, for example, maybe you heard something from me, and then Ismail heard it. So you say, look here, my colleague Maulana Sheikh Ismail Din, he said this here. Why are you going to mention his name when you heard it from me directly, and you can say you heard it from me? So in hadith circles, they call it ab'ada najwata. You missed the target. You missed the target. So sometimes you see there Rawahu Razin. Why you say Rawahu Razin? Simple reason, I'll tell you, that he couldn't find it in the original Bukhari. He couldn't find it in the original Muslim Sharif, but he only found it in Razin's book. So that means that the copy of Imam Razin that he had of Bukhari, or the copy that Imam Muslim had of Razin is probably in his book. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the only reference. And I explained to you before already why you get the differences in copies, why the manuscript differs. Now the main thing I want to tell you, which is interesting. So until recently, we didn't have Imam Razin's book. We didn't have his. Now remember, Imam Razin's book is the same category as Bukhari, as Mishkat Sharif, as Riyadh al-Salih. We didn't have Imam Razin's book. The only thing we knew about Imam Razin is when he was quoted in Mishkat. When he was quoted in Mishkat. So that's the only thing we knew. So his original book that Sahib Mishkat was quoted, it was what we term the term like in istilahi, it was mafqud, it was lost. We didn't know where it was. All we know is that we should see Imam Razin being quoted in Mishkat Sharif. Are you with me? But now, alhamdulillah, they found the manuscript of Imam Razin's kitab, and Imam Razin's kitab has been published. And I saw it on the Mufti's chat. It is available now. So if you're into this is very, very exciting news. But if you're not into this is nothing for you. If you're not into this thing, This is big news. But if you imagine, we've been quoting Imam Razin all the years. We've been quoting him from Madrasa time, and we didn't know where his book. But now the manuscript, that means the unpublished, has been found, and it is available, and you can buy it. Maybe we'll buy it one day, inshallah, for 3 or 4 thousand rand. So Imam Razin's book has been published for the first time. So if you're into kitabs, and if you're into this is like it's like it's like great news. But if you're not interested, you're not into this thing, it's just another thing, like it's another one thing. But anyway, so Imam Razin's book is now available for the first time ever in the history. Maybe before scholars had it, before, but for the last maybe couple of 100 years or what, our ulama didn't have access. So they found it, and I'm not sure the details, I must get the details. It has been found in one of the libraries and has been published. So now what we can do is, when we say the Imam, it's Ibn Mishkaat is saying Rawah Razin, we can go back to Imam Razin's kitab and see where it is in his kitab, etc., etc., etc. So for the first time, Imam Razin's book has been you would say it is, that the manuscript has been found, it has been cross-referenced, and it is being published. So very, very exciting news for students of Mishkaat Shareef. Very, very exciting news for those people who are into the fun of Hadith. Okay, time is up. We need to switch over there to the tafsir, inshallah.